Motivation. I'm motivated. But what do you do when motivation is not enough? You rely on your work ethic. You rely on your discipline. That's my mentality. Now let's get it.
The stage, please welcome Julian Peters.
What's going on? Welcome back to My Mentality Podcast. I am Julian Peters. For those watching, how are you doing? Sorry about the bad hair day. For those listening, welcome back to my voice. Today's guest, my big bro, coach. I call him the GOAT, Ryan Hinton. What's going on, man?
What up, man? Thanks for having me.
Always. So, first question of the day. What you got going right now? I know you're a busy man.
Man, it's a good time of the year, peak season. So just running show to show. This is my favorite part because it's where you kind of get to see what the whole team has been working on, putting out product.
For sure. And you just hit some pro cards last weekend, right?
Yep. Guy that had been dormant for a couple of years. He had competed since 2017, and he hit me back and was like, "Yo, it's time to make the run." And we did a warm up. I think 2 weeks out, won the class, got his card. Jason White.
Jason White, yeah. And then did you have second place at that one in that class too?
Yeah, we went 1 and 2 in that class. Yeah. It's bittersweet, you know.
Yeah. So I'm happy I said that. I'm happy you responded that way because that leads to the first topic. Let's just go ahead and get into it. About a week or 2 ago, I think is his name Ben, who does the live.
Yeah.
Ben, and it was Ben, you, Omar, I think Ryan Benson was on, and I was watching. And one of the questions came up. It was directed towards coaches, all you guys coach, was how do you deal with having multiple people at shows with different placings? So you got a person who just won their pro card, they're ecstatic, you're happy. Then you got a person over here who might have got second place behind the guy that just got a pro card and they're on the same team. How do you deal with that? Because I'll start off first by saying there was a difference of opinions on that live. I resonated more with yours. And if you guys were there and in the comments, I was commenting that I resonate more with Ryan's because of the mentality. And I wrote a status about this that I'll talk about after, but just explain your approach to dealing with the winner and the loser in that scenario.
Yeah, that's been a process, an ongoing process that I think has hit me the best, that I've learned from the best. And I'm glad that Omar brought it up or whoever brought it up, because it's nice to talk to somebody that has gone through the same things as you or is going through the same things that you do that, you know, most people don't really think about. And for me, I try to make the best case scenario, which would be, and this has just happened at Junior Nationals, is, you know, not everybody's going to be top 5. Not everybody's going to turn pro. Not everybody, right? But what we can do our best is, as a coach, to make sure that person that did not place as well has improved on their previous physique, and even better case scenario said, this is the best I've ever looked. Regardless of placing, is it the best you ever looked, or have you improved on? Those are things we can control. We can't control if you got overlooked. We can't control if you just so happen to be in a really tough class. And, you know, you got to just have those conversations. And that actually happened, was like, hey, you know, I'm not happy with my placing. Like, I'm pissed, but damn, I brought it. Like, I love how I look. That's best case scenario. And you know, got to go on to the next one. There's a show, you know, tomorrow, next week, 2 weeks from now, you know. You know, some people can argue, you know, bodybuilding is not a sport, but it still requires certain mentality to have the same, you know, winning and losing. You win, you lose, you win, you lose. What are you going to do? What was Patrick Mahomes doing 2 days after the Super Bowl?
Working on his game, rehabbing, but he was working on his game before that.
Right. Didn't they post an article about that?
Yeah. Yeah. Him and it's crazy because him and Brady, both
Right.
of the
I was going to bring
yeah.
I was bring it right.
Yeah.
Brady, all them guys. They're like, what? You just won the Super Bowl. Whether you win or lose, you got to do the same thing the next day. So, but man, but see, this is why I like having the relationships I have with other coaches, and I can get other perspective and be like, I feel you on that. I'm like, just like that conversation. And Omar was like, man, like I take it to heart. But I'm like, for me, I cannot be emotional as a coach because I don't want to make emotional decisions as a coach. I don't want to be emotional and say, well, man, we got to do this, we got to do that. I want to think logically and say, okay, listen, like I know, it feels a certain way, but almost like an attorney. You want to go ape shit. Your attorney's like, no, listen, you need to do this. Mm-hmm. Your friends are going to be emotional with you saying, no, and be angry, but emotional. So that's just my take to it, man. I just keep the head even,
Yeah, it's amazing you say that too, because one of the things I think people have to realize when you're getting ready to take a leadership position, you have to understand who you're working with, but you also have to keep goals in the front of their vision. And one of the things I noticed about you, and even with me, podcast, whatever, job or whatever, you do not let me reflect on the negative for more than like a minute. Oh, okay, you did that, but like, so what's next? How are we going to do this? And I think when you have a leader that thinks that way, it allows you to be focused on your next goal, which is good in two ways. Okay. The first way is great when you're successful because it voids you being complacent because you were successful. Because my coach is like, oh, you want a pro card? Okay, so let's make improvements. We can do a pro show at the end of the year. Instead of just being like, hey, you want your pro card? I'll see you later. Like, we're good. Because people get complacent like that. Or right. For the negative person who didn't get that, you're not allowing them to be in self-pity. And then that turns into a terrible rebound, which turns into 35 pounds of fat that you added in 3 weeks. And now you got to work your tail off to get that down, not realizing if you would have just stayed focused on your goal, you didn't get the result you wanted. Not everybody does. That you could have made your life a lot easier.
Facts. So accurate. It's a very common thing, man. Holding on to that. Exactly what you said. Or bringing solutions to problems. What's this guy, Elon Musk? I mean, I hear it all the time. And, when somebody says something, somebody that's hot right now, Elon Musk is like, he's on the headlines every day, but it's not. He didn't say anything new or profound. I've been hearing it since I was in high school. Don't bring me problems, bring me solutions. Mm-hmm. If you can solve problems, you can be successful. So those are the people that get promoted, that work jobs. Like, you know what I see every day on Facebook? People complaining about problems. Here's a problem. Here's a problem. Here's a problem. Here's a problem. But nobody has a solution.
Yep.
But and I'm not talking about just typing. I'm not talking about this. Here's a solution. Mm-hmm. They should do this. No, I'm saying being active. And I don't want to get political, but I'm just saying that take that approach in at any aspect of your life is okay. We kind of suck today. So what are we gonna do about it? We're gonna go eat a burger, have some Gatorade, sleep it off. It might take 2 days of eating. It's funny because this first time I'm saying this out loud. It is so funny. Athletes are very, very predictable. The conversation we have after a show where a place went a certain way, and then maybe versus the athlete we have the day after the show, and then the one on Monday, they all change. Mm-hmm. They go from I'm done, I'll be back next year, and then the next Sunday they're like, I don't know, I'm thinking about it. Monday they're like, I'm like, you just needed to eat, man.
Right.
It's a very common thing.
Right. I can hear you good.
Yeah, there we go.
Yeah, so you said it was a very common thing as far as dealing with your athletes and the moving forward. What are the things, sticking on the subject as far as success, that's something I want to talk about. causing complacency. You as a coach have been very successful over the last 2 or 3 years. And what I've noticed about you is you still grind, you still hustle. You're a hands-on coach. You're at shows. You're backstage. You're running around like a crazy man. I've been to plenty of shows. I've seen the big-time coaches. I've seen the small-time coaches. I've seen some of those big-time coaches sit in the stands the entire show. And Ryan's backstage running around like a madman, making sure his competitors are ready, they're calm, they're good to go. So what makes you want to continue that type of approach?
Man, part of it is like it's a feeling that I owe people something. Like if I can do something for somebody, like for me, it started out with, man, like I know I can turn people pro. Like I can help people turn pro. To like after a while, I was like, okay, cool. Now I've turned a lot of people pro, but I can help other people coach other people. Like it's just sense of responsibility. Like, yo, you need to put them on. It's not just you. Like I turned pro. I'm like, okay, you put some people on. Okay, now you're a successful coach. Put some people on. You can do that. And as far as being at shows, it's, I've that run around, I don't know, it's kind of like just knowing like what's needed. The last show, I didn't do the run around as much, but I'm like, everyone was so calm and ready, like ready. We did great, but yeah, there are shows where I'm like, they walk through on their individual or the comparisons, and I'm like, that ain't right. That ain't right. We just went over this posing. They got up there and they did the wrong thing. Let me run. Bro, look, here's the video. Look what you just did. Fix it when you get back up there. And that's the benefit of being able to like run back there real quick, make that tweak, because a quick tweak when needed. But nah, this last show, girls and guys, everybody was on point. That's usually what it is. For me with the run around, it's a presentation. They did something ridiculous. But this time, man, everybody nailed it. So hopefully I don't have to do it, because this show, running backstage, you got to run down some steps, run down the hallway. Like it's a good little run, man.
So let me ask you this: you obviously you're highlighting the fact that you didn't have to do that as much. Is that a sign of great preparation by yourself and your athletes that caused that, or was that just luck of the draw?
That I think that was a little bit of both. Because some of it's execution. I've been to so many shows where we'll go over the pose and front, back. Don't do that. Don't do that. Don't do that. Don't do that. They get on stage and they do it. So that may have been a luck of the draw, because once they get up there, I can't control what they do. But I would say definitely like, I know the girls had a couple different posing coaches, all of them. And all of the posing coaches had them posing perfect with everybody. And then, I was working with the guys and everybody nailed it. So it was probably luck of the draw too.
Okay, I got you. So let me ask you this. If you're in a situation where you're dealing with, an athlete, and you spoke about the preparation and something does go wrong day of the show, what is your approach to keep the athlete calm?
I think a big part about it is me staying calm, because people come to me for advice and they giving me something and they waiting for my reply. Like, is he going to freak out? Oh, if you don't think it's a big deal, then I'm good. As long as you're okay. I hear that all the time. But coach, okay, well, here's the fix to it. Mm-hmm. There's no sense of being like, oh, you did what? Wait, what happened? Oh, well now, and just dwelling to all this negative. I'm like, man, I've seen so many great things happen in bad situations. So we just got to let things play out. At the end of the day, we don't judge the shows.
Yeah, that's crazy. It's crazy you say that too, because even in sports, my position was point guard playing basketball, which most of the time, if you're doing your job correctly, some of y'all is bums, but most of the time, if you're doing your job correctly, a point guard is the second coach on the floor. All right. You also can be a leader, the energy. And one thing it took me the longest to realize was how important body language is to the morale of a team. Seriously. So if I turn the ball over, somebody misses a shot, I put my head down. I'm like, man, dog, you missed another shot. He's not going to want to shoot again. I've taken the confidence from my teammate by my reaction because I'm reacting with my body. I didn't say you suck. I didn't say you trash. I didn't say don't shoot. I just rolled my eyes and put my head down. He saw that, and it could turn his confidence down for the rest of that game. So it's crazy you say that about your reaction, how you respond, because I think that is an important piece of leadership, is how you respond.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. You definitely want somebody that's, I guess I use the term mild-mannered. I've never used that for myself, but, when it comes to coaching, yeah. I mean, you have a lot of responsibility. So, yeah, you're right. When people look to you for answers, and they're like, man, Julian's upset with me. He saw I've been fucking up, I can remember, what was that, my sophomore year, and it was game 10. And man, it was emotional for me because I was like, these dudes, because I had been around in middle school. I watched these guys these seniors play when they were sophomores. So I'm like, yo, we have to win this game. This is potentially their last senior game, their last game. And I remember getting in, it was like nickel defense. I was a, nickel back or whatever. And the team threw a lot. So I had a lot of playing time that game. And I remember doing something so stupid. We were in cover one, man-to-man for anybody. I had no real safety. It was a free safety. And I know we practiced all week inside eye, because when they line up a certain way, they're running slants.
Mm-hmm.
I left the inside eye wide open. And it was like, what are you doing? And I remember the safety, he was a senior. Lionel Cobb was like, you gonna wake up? You gonna play? That's what he said. You gonna play? And I was like, oh, shit. Like, he was like our Ed Reed. You know what I'm saying? Like, get my ass in gear because I don't want to let him down.
Right.
And being on the reverse side of that, as a leader, like, if I was okay with that response, but if he was just like, man, like, almost like, get this dude out of here,
mm-hmm.
That would kill me.
Mm-hmm.
But, I was playing a lot harder. And it's funny, I cried so hard after that game because we lost. I cried. I don't even think I cried my senior year. My sophomore year, man, I bawled because the season was over. But yeah, that is an interesting perspective, leadership. I don't think people realize how much responsibility goes into it, that if you've never been in that role, you don't really realize it. It's coffee. Yeah, a lot of responsibility on that, on the leadership side, man. And you're always placed under a microscope.
Mm-hmm.
Always. What you do, what you say, what you post.
Mm-hmm.
And like the reaction, I've heard people say stuff to, and I don't know, people talk about the judges when they're on stage and they're looking at the judges' faces.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I know they liked me because they were nodding their head when I walked on stage. So-and-so, he or she smiled when I walked on stage, or they weren't even looking at me, or, it could be anything. But, I guess as far as responsibility, I don't know if that's a judging thing, part of the training.
Yeah, so I've been on stage and I've had it all. I've had the judges smile. I've had the judges put their head down, all that. It didn't mean jack crap when I was on stage and the results at the end.
Right.
Because like the smiling and stuff, somebody could have told a joke on the panel and don't mean that like it was your physique that made them smile. That's a weird situation. But let me ask this though, because one of the things you talked about your sophomore year, what made you cry? Was it that you felt like you failed your teammates, or there was a lot of expectations on that year?
I think it was my first year playing varsity. And I think I had looked forward to playing varsity football since I was in, I don't know, 3rd grade, 4th grade. It was like, that was it. Like, that was it. And it was like my first experience. And I was just so sad that it was over,
okay.
it was crazy. I'm telling you, I remember pulling off on that bus so vividly, and it hit me when we were driving off. It hit me hard, man. So I was like, yo, if I'm crying like this now, my senior year, but fast forward, funny we're talking about that is I remember leaving, we played Evangel. I'm sure you know Evangel.
Mm-hmm.
Number 2 in the country that year. We played the first round of the playoffs because we were obviously one of the last bottom seeds. But man, I played my heart out that game. Probably I'm gonna say that was the best game of my career, and I felt fine.
Mm-hmm.
I gave it all, and I did the same thing on track that year. We got our asses kicked my senior. We did better my junior year in track than we did my senior year, and that was the hardest I ever ran in the track meet. Hardest ever. I felt great. It was over, but that's another thing. I wonder about athletes, like what you put into it. I feel better when I put everything into it and lose. You know what I'm saying? And half-ass and win or lose. Like,
No, I feel that. It's great. The reason I asked that is because I feel like expectation is such a volatile word for us as competitors, for us as athletes. It's like, to be a good athlete, you need to have high expectations. You need to be confident in what you can do. You need to set things that you feel like, I expect myself to do this. But then at the same time, I feel like that almost increases the failure aspect if you don't hit that expectation. So like for me, high school year, senior year football, they picked us to win state.
Ooh.
We won our first game. We lost 2 straight, went on to win 7 straight, blowing out people, beat the number 3 team in the state by like 30. I'm having a great year. We going to work. We had, a couple D1 cats on our squad. We played a kid. He went to Kentucky as a running back named Derek Locke. Shut him down, one of the top rushers in the state. Like, it was beautiful. The season was great. I'm on cloud 9. First round of the damn playoffs, we lose to the 8th seed.
Oh, no.
And like a knockdown, dragged out. They play like Texas Tech. I'm a linebacker. So obviously, like, I hated it. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, oh, my God, they doing all these runs. I'm just putting my hands up, trying to knock the ball down. They run and crawl. I'm crushing the running back if he come through anywhere. And I'll never forget the play, man. Like, we picked the win state. We had another team that was really good, and we lost. They ran, talking about slants, they had been running slants all game. I'll never forget this play. It's like 3rd down, 4th quarter, 1:30. They ran a slant and go.
No.
Bro, I remember they play, dude threw it up, and I remember turning around, and our corner was on the ground.
Bit on.
The wide receiver, he bit hard, and the wide receiver was gone. And I remember just being like, I hope he drop it, because if not, and he caught it, and we lost, and I cried my heart out. But the crazy thing is, like, it wasn't that this might be my last football game ever. I cried because I'm like, we're supposed to win state. Like, that was my expectation. So I see that a lot now too with competitors. I'm going to win my card. I'm going to win that pro card. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do that. And you want that type of reckless confidence. Like, you want to go in there, but I'm asking you this. Is there a limit to our expectation? Are we setting ourselves up to be hurt by putting expectations too high?
That's a good one. Because I get asked pretty often, do you think I can get my pro card? Mm-hmm. Do you think I can do it? Do you think I can make it to the Olympia? I'm like, bro, the answer isn't through my eyes, though. It's through your actions, a lot of it. Because what it takes for most people aren't willing to do. That's like me going up to Warren Buffett saying, hey, Warren, do you think I can be a billionaire? And if Warren says no, I'm going to be like, well, Warren Buffett said I can't be a millionaire, so he probably knows what he's talking about. Warren doesn't know what I'm capable of doing. If he gave me a list of things to do, would I actually do it? Would I read 6 hours a day, all the books that he said to read? Now that's an extreme. I'm saying Warren Buffett, but what if it was just a guy that knew he was talking about, a coach? And so, you know, when it comes to doing every show imaginable and staying healthy and training the same way you need to do and dieting for a certain amount of time year round to collect points to get to the Olympia or to place really well in national shows and find out what you need. And then on top of all of that, you have genetic threshold, which is a whole other thing that, depending on who you are, I can't necessarily tell you that until we work together for a while. Like, I can say track-wise, when it comes to track and field, I can say 100% I did all the coaching. I ran and trained as hard as I could every single time I reached my genetic threshold when it came to us as a sprinter. I can say 100% I got nowhere close to that as a competitive bodybuilder. For a fact, I never gave it my all. I never gave it my all for long enough. And so
that's crazy you say that. Like, that's stupid that you just said that. You finished 8th in the world, didn't you?
Yeah.
And you didn't give it your all. Like, I want people to hear that due to the fact that, like, that's what our sport is. That is the harsh reality of our sport. There are genetic gifts, like my coach, that did not give it their all, prepped for what, 6 weeks?
Something like that, yeah, 4 or 5.
Got 8th place in the world. So I want y'all to, the only reason I'm reiterating that is because I want y'all to hear that to understand what he's saying.
But you know what? We see that in all sports. How many NBA players you know, right?
Yeah, 100%.
I'll ask anybody. Go look at Usain Bolt broke the world record multiple times. And multiple times he's 10 meters from the finish line and he's like,
yep. Celebrating his ass off, man.
So all of us are like, bro, what are you doing? You could have ran faster.
No.
Right?
No.
So the athletes do that all the time. We see people go to the NFL, partying, drinking, not training the way they were when they were in college or the way when they were in high school. So I'm not embarrassed to say that I was not necessarily complacent, but I definitely, like, don't get me wrong, I trained every day. I just did it. I didn't diet enough. There was a lot of stuff I didn't do. I didn't do enough shows. You know, there were 2 years I did 6 and 6 when it came to pro shows. And when I was like really running, I did back-to-back Olympics. But after that, I was like, I could have done shows. But now, like, you know, what it takes, yeah, genetic threshold, no. I know I didn't reach it. And that's fine, though, because my expectations were set. And I had reached that. And then reflected my expectations. I wanted to place top 10 in the world, and I hit that. And after that, it was just kind of like, you know, I was never an emotional competitor.
Right.
My worst I'm telling you, my worst placings, I look terrible. Everybody, all right, I look terrible. And I didn't care. I was just, I don't know. It truly was a hobby to me.
Right.
So when people are like, you don't understand. I give them my all. I train hard. I'm like, that's fine. A lot of people give it their all. Everyone trains. And I think people forget that. When people start saying that in bodybuilding, like, I work hard, I'm like, okay. That's like telling me you took a shower last night. Like,
right.
You know, I think people, and it may be like experience as an athlete. You know, would you walk into a D1 football locker room like, I'm the hardest worker in here? Like, all right.
Yeah, I don't. To me, that's putting a target on my back anyway. So I don't even know why I would do that in the first place.
Right.
But one thing that I think it's not really a quote, but one thing I can say is normally the person who's telling you what they are ain't that.
100%. Yeah. I just read that somewhere. Was that it? Did you put that up?
I don't think so. I might have.
Hold on. What's his name?
I put so much great things up, I forget. So
yeah, and J. Cole said something like that in that last album he just put out too.
Okay.
When he said something about he did a good job faking that he was hard or hard enough. I can't remember how he said it, but yeah, no, it's usually the loudest one in the room is the biggest coward.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I usually experience that. The beast that I have, show up like my athletes, I'm like, damn, I didn't know they were built like that.
Right.
They so quiet. They don't say anything. Wait, you do what?
Right.
You work hours a week? You wake up at what time? Didn't even know. You working crazy like that? Man, yeah. I had a guy today. He's in peak week. Yesterday, I'm like, bro, you know what? You know, how we looking? I didn't hear back from him. This morning, like super early, he was like, my bad, coach. I worked 7:30 to 10 yesterday. I'm like, wait, at this job? He was like, well, I worked the morning shift at that job. I trained in the middle and went. I was like, oh. But he's not on social media telling everybody how hard he's working. And I was just like, oh, okay, bet. It's peak week.
Right.
And he's hitting it hard too, man. So yeah, those are the ones. Those are the fire ones, man. You just shut up and work.
Right. So I think one of the things that I'm putting together with this is the high expectation is okay. Just don't have a bullshit work ethic.
Yeah.
I'm just like, honestly, like, and prime example, Micah. Like, I know I talk about him a lot. I can almost guarantee you myself, nobody on the team would have ever thought that Michael would be qualified this fast. But
it's like it was fast.
It seemed like it was, you know what I'm saying? Like, it wasn't a whole bunch of shows. Like, you know, he came, he grew, he improved, showed up, showed out, got his qualification. I believe Micah expected he was going to get, I know Micah expected he would get to those one day. Like, I know that. We've had that conversation. I also know Micah works hard as hell and is a engineer and a strategist. So I would say, from what I'm getting, having the high expectation is okay. The work ethic needs to match. And I believe if the work ethic does match, then you feel like you did your last football game. You know, I put my all into this. It didn't go that way I wanted, but I know I did everything in my power to reach that expectation that I hit. Now you decide whether or not you want to, you know what, I'm gonna bounce back. Let's go to the next one. That shows the type of character you have, or you end up quitting. But as long as you put everything into it, you end up feeling like you did, which is I did everything I could.
Man, you said it. And speaking of Micah, that's another one. Brother, dude's never had to tell me who he is.
Right.
Never.
Right.
Checks in, appreciate it, work, back to work.
Right.
You know, and it wasn't until we were having a conversation during check-ins. This was before he qualified with another one of his teammates. And they were just talking about career. And, you know, they were just like, man, it's just been tough for my career. The guy's telling Micah this. He's like, cool. Okay. All right. Bro, I'm in meetings until 7:30, 8 o'clock. Not like I'm in meetings all day. They start at 7 a.m. We got, you know, we do business overseas. So I'm doing meetings at 5 8, all over the place. And the dude's got a kid. Like, I know, you know what I'm saying? Like, he's just not talking about his struggles all day. The dude just works.
Right.
And then when they see the old qualify, they're like, oh, what y'all been doing? Man, the dude been working.
Been working. It's crazy because I'm like, as we're having this conversation, this is why I love doing this. As we're having this conversation, I'm replaying my time as a competitor, my time as an athlete. I'm replaying conversations to you. And like, I can replay my conversations to you and be like, you were so full of shit. You would say, like, when I would text you, be like, yo, bro, I'm ready. Like, I'm ready to go. I shouldn't have to tell you that. Hey, coach, what's the diet? This is what we're doing. Okay, bet. Nah, yeah, I'm ready. This is it. Like, I'm finna start. I wasn't ready. I was trying to convince you and myself that I was. It's crazy we're having this conversation, and I'm thinking that that's ringing in my head right now. Like, damn, bro, like, you weren't ready because you were being the loud person in the room. You were telling everybody that the show's going to be on this day. You finna work that hard. Real G's move in silence like lasagna. Ain't that what Wayne said? Real hard workers are going to just work. I'm not saying, guys, and when y'all listen to this, I'm not telling y'all that don't mean don't have a social media. Okay. I'm not saying you can't post and do all that. But I am saying that there is a bit of authenticity that's not there when you're always talking about how hard you're doing something. That's all I'm saying. I'm looking at it like, okay, he or she's doing too much.
Facts.
That's just how I look at it. Why do I look at it that way? Because I was that damn person. That's why I look at it that way. So you can't BS me on this one. I was that person. That's why I look that way. So it's interesting you said that.
Yeah. It's easy. It's easy to see. It's easy to see. And it's funny, as you go along, you work with enough personalities, you see it a lot sooner.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes I'll hit in the first conversation. The first conversation, I'm like, all right. Just send the picture.
Right. Yeah, that's great. So when you're dealing with the person who comes in that has that super high expectation, hey, like, I hear you're the best coach. I just won my local show in Peoria, Mississippi last year. I'm ready to get my pro card. I know I can do this. I want to get my pro card and go to the O this year. What's your response to that?
Let me see the pictures.
All right. So you get the pictures, talented, but they're not there.
Mm-hmm.
So what is your approach to keep confidence high, but possibly bring expectation down?
Man, take it in increments, you know. Have you been to a pro qualifier? No. Okay. Well, let's see how we line up. Let's see how let's go. Let's take my formula and bring you there.
Mm-hmm.
Ethics, my formula will bring you there. Because you can't tell me how you're gonna do it in after show. You don't know.
Mm-hmm.
Let's take you believe in my formula, so let's take your genetics, my formula, we'll see what we got, and then reassess. Right. You know, I've been to shows where I'm like, let's say I got 5 men's physique dudes, and I'm like, out of all of them, this one is the banger. He beating everybody. It's lights out, and he's the only one that didn't go pro.
Wow.
The other 4 go pro. And I don't know whether that person, if I'm saying that this example of the Mississippi guy, if he's willing to say, oh man, like, I don't have it. No, man, like, maybe you were just in a tough class, because my confidence in what we brought was there.
Right.
Taking the emotional out of it. Emotional would be, oh man, like, no. But mindset says, bet, it is what it is. I look dope. Let's keep it going. We'll get the next one. We got to move forward anyway.
Right. It's crazy you say that about emotions, because I think that, like, for me, I was a very emotional athlete. Not where I was like crying all the time and all that. I played passionately. Like, I was the guy, high energy, you know, fist pumps, screaming. Like, that was me. That's how I got myself together. That's how I would play. With that being said, I knew how to turn that on and off, right? In between those lines, emotional Jew. After the game, you're not going to see me breaking tables and doing all that. The reason I bring this up is because, first of all, I'm going to continue to say this. Men are more emotional than women. So y'all just need to accept that. Now, I'm going to go ahead and back that up with saying, I see it every now and then, but a majority of the people who are not placing the way that they want to at shows and going on these rants afterwards, from what I see, are grown men. I'm not seeing too many bikini athletes out there screaming and ranting and doing the IGTVs for 40 minutes. It's grown men doing this. And in my opinion, again, leadership is helpful in these situations. Having a coach that says, nah, you don't need to do that, could help you, because I don't care what anybody says. You can't go shit on the organization and expect that organization to just lift you up like, hey, it's all good. You just blasting me. And we're in a subjective sport to where, yeah, I could think that you look great and you should have won. That don't mean nothing, though. Like, this is a subjective sport. We know we're going to. So I ask you, when you're dealing with the emotional part, because obviously we're trying to remove it as athletes for the most part, how would you advise athletes to, I guess, express their frustrations if they felt wrong in placings?
So, man, you about to open up a can of worms because
That's why I'm here.
because I feel like a lot of that, now, this is my opinion, a lot of that has to do with emotional intelligence and awareness.
Mm-hmm.
And we seen it big today. Men, people, we don't exactly know. Most men don't know how to express themselves.
No.
Or they only one way to express themselves.
Anger.
And so it's a fine line between like letting someone express themselves. Social media is for expression,
mm-hmm.
right? Which is fine. But Barack Obama, Donald Trump, whatever y'all post on Facebook, they don't give a shit.
No.
In fact, no one gives a shit. So that's really the truth, though. Like, you just want to, that's fine to express. I can open the door right now and scream down the hallway because I'm angry.
Right.
I might disrupt somebody, but at the end of the day, they really don't give a fuck that I'm mad.
Right.
They don't care.
Right.
But I feel like, I want to scream. So I get it. Like, I'm just not like that.
Right.
You know, if I'm the different, so I said I'm the same type of competitor, and I'm the same type of competitor as I am the coach without the emotion. So this is me. I get pissed. I'm competitive.
Mm-hmm.
When I lose, I'm going to the fucking dungeon. I'm training my ass off.
Mm-hmm. Whether
it be business and studying or it be on the field. That's me. You got me. You got me. So I'm going to go back to my training grounds and train my ass off. I'm not, so but that's me. And I understand, you can try to talk to people, but like talking to someone, say, hey man, I don't think you should do this. Like, nah, man, dad, right? So if someone asks my opinion, I'll gladly give it. But force my opinion, not too many people come to me for my opinion or my advice.
Right.
And most of the time they don't take it anyway. So
yeah, we don't like what we hear.
Intelligence.
Okay. So that's actually a good word for it, I would say. It's just like, I think what you said as far as just the lack of awareness, because I do think emotions cloud your awareness. Like you said, when you're upset, when you're mad, emotions will definitely cloud that awareness. So possibly one of the things that men should be focused on more is poise.
Mm.
When you watch athletes, the best athletes, the Bradys, the Mahomes, the Kobes, the Jordans, poise.
Saban.
Yeah. It's
he's back. Okay.
Huh?
You for a second, he'll get in a referee real quick.
Mm-hmm.
We back to
right
on the mission.
Poise.
Yep.
And what almost makes this crazy to me, what you're talking about, the first person I thought about when you said, I don't coach with emotion, I'm not approaching this with emotion, is Bill Belichick.
Mm.
I just watched a documentary on Bill Belichick on Vice TV. It's called Dark Side of the Ring. And it talked about, like, his come up, the cheating scandals and all that. But when you really dig into the Patriots way, that's what they call it. That is an organization that moves like a business. It's always next man up. It's always how are we going to improve. It's always how to get better. Y'all might hate the cheating. And yeah, it's not great, Deflategate, the signs. But to me, that shows somebody who's willing to do whatever it takes to win. And he removed all emotion out of it, though. If you're not good enough to play, you're not going to play. We're talking about a man who was almost on the fence of trading Tom Brady because he thought Jimmy Garoppolo was going to be the better option for the future. Think about that. That's where him and Brady became like not so good friends. because he was like, yo, I'm thinking about the future. Tom Brady's declining. We got this young buck that I like, that I drafted, and they end up trading Jimmy G. But that's what started the rift between them two. It was such a lack of emotion there. It was like, it's business, business, business.
Cutthroat.
So I'm explaining all that to say, we talk about men and their emotions, and I'm pretty sure you deal with, especially when you got guys that are hungry, guys are doing whatever, they're emotional. But the women aspect of that, is there a difference in that type of emotion and what you're dealing with? Do they react different to the fact that you coach without emotion? Is just more a business thing? And would you say that they respond better than men in this situation?
Definitely better. I would say it's a big difference. I mean, of course, there are some that are like, or do you feel a certain way about it? Mm-hmm. I'm coaching, right. But it usually has to do with like emotional intelligence. Like,
right.
I'm angry. I want you to be angry too. Mm-hmm. It's yeah, it is a difference. They're usually, the female competitors usually more calm. Mm-hmm. Like you said it, they don't typically, at least not the ones that I coach. I've seen some on social media but that's the way they live their life though. It has nothing to do with, some people just like that, man.
Right.
But not a huge difference. Like, it's the girls usually just need about 2 days of eating and they're good.
Okay.
Which is pretty funny, I think.
Right.
They need to eat. She just needed to eat.
I believe it, bro. I believe it. The hangry moments is no joke.
I said when I was hungry. Yeah, common thing.
No, I get that. I get that. Well, it's crazy, man, that we're talking about some of this stuff. Like I said, I'm actually going through my catalog mentally and learning a lot within this conversation. Expectations, work ethic, the whole nine.
So you just mentioned something I was going to speak on a second ago, emotional intelligence. Mm-hmm. Most people go, they did this, they did that, this is bullshit. They're going off, they're complaining. But not once did they say, well, my chest does suck, my back sucks, I could improve here. Where could I improve? Mm-hmm. My last relationship was XYZ. This person was XYZ. I don't know about you, but 99% of people I've met, they all their exes were like the worst person. Mm-hmm. I've never heard them say, yeah, my last relationship, I was XYZ. You don't hear that. Mm-hmm. It's, man, I don't compete anymore because those people this or this, that. It's a business. No kidding.
Right.
If it was business, it wouldn't function.
Right.
How would the NFL work? How would teams and organizations and franchise happen if no one made any money?
Right.
Everyone's going to be a nonprofit? But again, emotional intelligence. Some people will just always complain. Mm-hmm. But yeah, we could go deep into that. But how you do anything is how you do everything.
Man, when you say that too, one of the things that I've been harboring on the last couple of months is just how we respond. I know I've mentioned that a couple of times. You can look at my situation, everything going on. We're not gonna get all into that. That's for a later time. But with the divorce going on and all those situations, one of the things that I did do was say, man, this is all messed up. Can't believe this happened. What did I do wrong? That's how I responded. A lot of people have asked, how have you been able to get through this? How have you been able to do this? Number one, I prayed. I'm a God-fearing man. Yo, take the wheel. I need you because I don't know where I'm going or what I'm doing. That's the first thing. The second thing was, I'm not going to allow somebody to get me out of my character and integrity. That was my second thing. Be calm. Be rational. Think about how you're going to approach this. What can you do? My third thing was, let's reflect. Let's go back. Where are some places as a husband that you weren't the best? How do you improve? Because technically, even as a Christian, or if you're just a good person, every experience is a learning experience. I don't give a damn what has happened to you. It's how you intend to respond to it. So when I looked at it, I'm like, okay, it's my first time being a husband, my longest relationship. What did I do? First of all, Julian, you're only child. Okay. You're standoffish. You like your own space. It's kind of hard to do when you're married to somebody to always be that way. Probably need to work on that. Communication. Are you the best at it? No. Okay. Let's work on that. Okay. I got that. Including talking, discussions, being patient, not flipping off the top, not getting upset. Were some of those arguments worth it? Did you pick the right battles to have? Was it really necessary to be annoyed by this? Those are the things I started looking at and say, you know what? I'm going to take this, and the next time this happens, we'll mold that. We'll make 2.0 Juju husband, and the next chick will have the best version of me that she can have, because I'm going to reflect on what I did. That was probably the hardest thing I've ever had to do.
I'm going to post that last clip. The next chick's going to have the best.
Right.
Blow up, boy.
Right. But that was, bro, that was the hardest thing to do, because all I wanted to do was blame. No, it wasn't me. It wasn't me. It wasn't me. And although maybe I didn't do anything to cause the events, I still wasn't a perfect husband. That's not possible. So how can I get better? What did I, like you said, how do I get better? If I'm a competitor, the last show that I lost that I thought I won, I got third place in. I thought I was heads above those guys that I lost to. You can hear on the video we had people in the crowd like, what? Like, how did that happen? So yes, I was upset. But then I started reflecting on that. Well, you did have extra peanut butter, meal 4, a month ago. You did cut your cardio short by 20 minutes, like 2 or 3 times that whole prep. Your coach only told you to go eat the day after and breakfast, but you stopped at McDonald's on the way driving back. I wasn't reporting that to him. So whose fault is it? Did I give everything I had into that prep to deserve the win? No. Once I thought about that, after I threw my third place medal away, I realized that it was my fault and I couldn't blame anybody.
Facts. That's a rare thing, bro.
It takes a lot of growing to do.
Right.
It's not easy. And I think, like, everybody, a lot of men want to talk about how tough they are, how strong they are. Be strong and sit your ass down in a mirror. Be strong and sit your ass down in a mirror and reflect on your life and where you make mistakes and how you can get better. Strongest quality a man can have, because that shows that you want to improve. That shows you want to develop and be better. And when you have that type of thought process, I think you also have to understand you're not ready for what might hit you on the opposite side of what you're doing.
Right. Right. Very rare thing, man.
It was sucky though, but we getting through it. We good. Everything's on the come up. Also, word of advice, anybody watching this, listen to that part. Know who you surround yourself with. I think it was by the grace of God that I met you during this time. I've already talked about you about current events that happened leading up to everything, where I knew you being in my life was important to help me get through these things, to see better opportunities in myself, right? That's because I had you as a big bro, right? The reason I'm saying that is because one of the things I respect about you, you humbled yourself enough to go talk to Omar to get the 411 on how I'm going to be successful in these areas, right?
Right.
What did it take for you to do that? Because you've now surrounded yourself with a person who can help you become successful and be better. But it took you being man enough to say, you know what, I need help in this area. I'm going to go ask. A lot of people won't do that.
Man, I think I've just always valued leadership, and like coach, you could call it coaching. He's not my coach, but it was something like, man, this person has something that I admire, a piece of something. If he has 1% of something that he can help me with, and whether it be just a question, hey, what do you think about this? and drop something on me that I have zero experience in, like, oh, okay, this is what to expect. I remember calling him one time. I think it was our second conversation. He finished my sentence because he knew I was calling. He already knew what I was dealing with as I was growing. Mm-hmm. Finished my sentence, and I was like, how did you know? I almost forgot about it. It's like 2016, maybe 2015, 2016. And he knew, because again, I don't know. It doesn't take, call it just not having ego. Mm-hmm. If somebody has something that I admire, I'm not a hater. I'm going to ask them, I guess it's usually the opposite. People will try to downplay what other people have. Mm-hmm. And, and not just him. Kim, I talk to Kim Odo every time I see him. And I talk to him because I admire what he's built. Mm-hmm. Ryan Benson, zero gravity. I'm going to ask a question. This is what I'm dealing with. And this is what, and they respond back because they know. They all have, 15 years on me.
Right.
Experience. Kim's got more than that. But, yeah, man, I don't think, that whole self-made, cool. It's like that term is whatever. Like everybody's self-made in a sense, but in a sense, meaning even like the trash people are all self-made. You made yourself trashy.
No, I agree with you. That's why the self-made thing is funny to me because at some point you're going to need somebody's help.
Right.
If you're starting a business, at some point, the lady who helped you fill out your LLC, because you didn't know what you was doing, like that's not self-made. I think that's the ego that you're talking about. Like,
yeah, people want me, look at me, self-made. I know some people with the self-made talk. I'm like, I know your coach. I know your mentor. I know who taught you how to run that business. But you want everybody to think that you just figured it out. I don't know why.
Right.
Who cares?
Right.
Okay, you're a millionaire and you want to say that you're a self-made millionaire. Is it going to diminish your income if you say, so-and-so helped me get this, so-and-so gave me the blueprint?
Right.
That's weird to me. Hey,
yeah.
I'm an IFBB pro, self-coached. Where are you?
Right.
That hasn't happened to me, but some of those other coaches I mentioned did say that they were coaching people and they went on to say that they were self-coached, and I turned myself pro. Why? Because no one cares.
No.
At all.
I get why, which also goes into your character as a person, because the only reason they're doing that is because they want to start coaching themselves, so they want people to think that they knew what they were doing. They got their physiques to where they want, so now they think that other people are going to want to come to them because they turn themselves pro. But what I would say to that is that might work for a little bit, but having that type of character is just not healthy for the soul. I'll just put it like that. And karma is a whore. So whatever y'all want to do with that, y'all can.
I do know some people that have done that went on, like, because they wanted to coach therapy, and then it happened to them too. Mm-hmm. So they got to take their own medicine.
Yeah.
I don't get it.
Yeah. It's the industry. I'm not like a big head in the industry, obviously, but I've been around enough and I watch and I observe. What I've noticed too, you see it a lot more at the local level with people self-made, self-coached. Like, even if I guess you want to say you wrote up your own diet plan, if you are constantly messaging somebody, hey, what do you think about this? Hey, what would you do with this? That's not a coach. That's like your what is it, tutor? At least there's somebody there.
Right.
Like, I just don't, I feel you on that, man. I don't know. I can't think of anybody in my life that I could ever just say they were 100% self-made, because I don't know that's possible. I would almost like to, now that we're talking about it, even get rid of the word, because there's help anywhere. Like, I might be self-made, and the Mentality podcast, yeah, I did this. You gave me the idea. You gave me the bug. You kept encouraging. Mom Dukes, like, yeah, go ahead and do it. You got the talent for it. I needed all that to be able to be self-made and start this podcast. So am I really self-made?
Right. I think, you know what? The people that use self-made and I'm the hardest worker here are the same people.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Corny.
Yeah. It's I bet my new phrase is top tier cornballs. It's a lot of those out there, but it really is to me, it's a terrible idea to gain more business in whatever you're doing. And it just doesn't make sense to me. Like, unless you was born in like 1930 with the Weeders, you're not like bodybuilding. You did not start yourself. You know what I'm saying? Like, we've all progressed from books, from studies, from research to get to these points. You know what I mean? So like, I don't know. I just don't, the self-made thing is just weird to me. And yet, like you said, the hardest worker in the room is weird to me too.
Right.
Like, even
doing.
Yeah, even I remember a specific conference. I want a press conference like 2017 at the O, when they first let men's physique competitors get up there. Of course, it was a drama because that's what men's physique guys are. And George, goofy ass, get up there and like start talking best to Buendia. And all I remember is Buendia being like, nobody outworks me. Nobody outworks. And I remember George's response was like, are you sure? Like, and when he said it, I'm like, that's such a claim to make, that you have no idea what your genetics is better than the guy who probably outworks you. That don't mean you outwork them. You just got better. Like, nobody knows.
Right.
So then as I replay it, I'm like, why would he say that? It's intimidation. It's a bark.
Right.
And you're going to hear people say that, and most people will concede.
100%.
It's a big bark. Like, it's a flex. Literally, when people do that, they're flexing. They're trying to show you what they are. And like, that's all it is. It's funny, but that's all it is. Why do I know this? Again, I keep reiterating people because I've been that person. I've been that person. So, hey, man, I've been talking your ear off. I don't want to keep you going. I know you're busy out there, but man, you got anything you want to say or end this with?
Man, I always got something to say, but I think I dropped enough dimes today, man. You got me flowing over here. Plus, we fake sunlight, but man, it's been great as always, man. Always good time.
First of all, it's bright and sunny outside where I'm at, West Coast time. Y'all can call me Jupac from now on because I'm on the West Coast now. This is the first podcast from Arizona. So, Ryan, of course, I started my first podcast with you, so I'm starting the next chapter with you as well, which is why it was so important that I get you on. You didn't realize that, but that's why it was so important that I get you on.
Hey, hold on. Wait, so is this season 2?
Yeah, right? Shout out to Spoon. I'm going to cut this out and send it to you personally. This season 2, it's your time now to get on
Cornball.
But yeah, man. So I guess you could say this is a new chapter and season 2. I'm, for those watching or listening, I got some people here in Arizona that I've already talked to get them on. I got some more athletes coming. I think we're gonna have some really interesting conversations, some really good ones to learn. I hope you guys listen to this one and realize like the gems you truly got out of this. And we'll just keep growing and keep going. And I know my coach is going to keep pushing out them pro cards. And, one day I'm going to get you on this show and we're going to talk real estate.
Bet.
We're going to, huh?
I don't know nothing about that.
Yeah, we're going to talk real estate. We're going to show people, we're going to show people some different sides of what it takes to be successful.
You got it, man.
Yeah, but all right. So for those listening, thank you for listening to my voice. Thank you for listening to my coach. For those watching, I hope y'all like the new backdrop. Got a new camera. My tattoos hitting. I'm going to be here all the time. So y'all have a great day. Appreciate y'all for listening.